Good evening, friends. Once again, welcome to each one of you in this GST Gyan series, in which today is the fourth day, and we have with us our eminent expert, CA Rohit Paswani ji. Sir, welcome to you on this channel once again. And co-panelist and GST expert Anuj Kakkar ji is also here. So, welcome to you, Anuj bhai. And we will take your inputs during the session and in the time of the queries. So, once again, welcome to each participant who have joined on this Saturday evening. Although less number is there, but YouTube live will be available. So I request before starting of the technical topic, Anuj Kakkarji to say a few words.
थैंक यू सुमित जी एंड वेलकम एवरीवन. आज जो टॉपिक कवर कर रहे हैं हमारे साथ रोहित जी, इट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड अ वेरी वेरी क्रिटिकल टॉपिक. रोहित जी विल बी कवरिंग जीएसटी ऑडिट्स, डिपार्टमेंटल इंक्वायरीज, एंड जैसे कि आजकल all of us are reading in the newspapers. Every day there is a inquiry, there is an audit. So it's a very practical and a very hot topic, and it will be very useful for everyone. Before I start, I'd like to introduce Rohit ji to everyone. Rohit ji is a qualified chartered accountant, and he has been specializing into indirect taxes for the last 22 years. He's practicing as a CA since 1998, and he's a registered member of the Sales Tax Bar Association for past 20 years. He is also a special invitee member to the IDT committee of our institute. He is also the member advisory of Bharatiya Vitha Salakhar Smiti, which is a group of finance professionals. And he's been an indirect tax committee member for NIRC. And he has vast experience in seminars in various trade forums, academia, corporates association, and his inputs are very well relished and very practical inputs which he gives during the seminars. And now I'd like to hand over to Rohit ji for the topic. And over to you, Rohit ji.
Thank you, Anuj ji. Can you hear me?
Yes, Rohit ji,
Yes,
please.
Okay. First of all, Sumit Garg, founder of CASA and member Regional Council Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and today's host Anuj Kakkar ji, and senior members of the profession and my dear friends. CASA is already always doing these types of programs and seminar for the benefit of the members since long time, and I have been associated for a very long period. And this is, after 4 years of the implementation of the GST. Prior to implementation of the GST, also the CASA was doing lot of work, and continuously after that also, I think that momentum has been kept by the organization. And today we are discussing after 4 years, because now the ball is coming in the court of the department, because we have filed few annual returns, we have filed routine returns for number of years, and after filing of the annual return or the GST audit wherever applicable, now it is the ball in the court of the department to accept the annual return as it is, or to do the necessary verification, necessary checks, or we call it generally the surveillance. So let it make the interactive session. एक interactive session बनाते हैं इसको, और practical topic है. The topic is like that. It depends on the experience of the professional, that how to handle the audits, and especially the departmental audits. And it is not like it is in GST. It was there earlier in service tax also. It was there in central excise also. And the concept of audit is long after the implementation of the board weight in our country, long back in 1986-87. And after implementation of the board weight, the concept of self-assessment came. In GST also, we are following the concept of self-assessment. You are filing the GSTR 3B return based on your own estimation. There is no checking, or there is no authentication by the department or surveillance by the department per se. And based on your own assessment, you file the GST returns. And after that, another opportunity is also there to file the annual return in due course. And that is generally the 31st of December of the next year, GSTR 9, and wherever applicable, GSTR 9C is to be filed. And up to March 20, 3 years GSTR 9 and 9C has already been filed. And this also is a part of self-assessment process. And now the question comes, how do the department verify whether you have filed the correct return or not, or whether there is any discrepancy or there is any evasion or there is any short payment of tax so far as your returns filed by the uh, suppliers. Now the question comes, what types of tools are available with the department? And one of the tool is ASMT 10, which we are looking the notice. ASMT 10 comes for scrutiny of the return. And if on the basis of the data filed by the supplier, if any inquiry or any query is there, the department can ask you in by way of ASMT 10, and you will find many ASMT 10 which are coming without mentioning actually the what exactly the department is wanting from you. And there are ASMT 10 which is being sent for the whole year, say for the 1920, and they are asking you to clarify. But what exactly the issue is, in many of those notices are not clear. And in some of the notices, they are asking for the reconciliation of GSTR 3B ITC with the GSTR 2A, which has been auto-populated with the department portal. So with this, one of the tool available with the department, another tool is the audit. And why it is the audit of the department? There is earlier annual audit also under GST, like we have the tax audit. We have the tax audit under Section 44 AB of the Income Tax Act. Similar manner, the audit was there, but now it remains only the reconciliation and not the audit, because it is the self-certified by the supplier. So now the question comes, how department is going to check in, regular course, that whether the supplier is filing a correct return or not. What is the tool available with the department? The basic concept in the self-assessment is the trust. And the department trusts that whatever return has been filed by the supplier are true and correct. And the amount of tax paid by the supplier is also correct. And if later on any discrepancy has been found based on the return or based on the audit, then it will be treated as there are two sections, either section 73 or 74. This is general section which I am talking about for raising the demand against the SSE. The reason is that if you see, the mechanism of raising the demand in general cases is section 73 and 74. There is no scrutiny like the income tax. We have 143.2 or 143.3, where based on certain criteria, your uh, assessment is made by the officer, and this is the limited assessment or complete assessment. Here, the assessment is only the self-assessment, but scrutiny of return can be there only with respect to limited issues which has been highlighted by the department. So now there is a mechanism for departmental audit under Section 65 of the CGST Act 2017. And although this topic itself is the whole topic is the practical, but let me share the screen so that we can move systematically so far as the study of the GST audit is concerned. We have the specific section, we have the rules, we have the formats which has been prescribed, and based on those things, that audit is going. So we are talking about only the audit by the department. It is neither a special audit nor the tax audit. And basically section 65 audit is by the tax authorities. And 66 audit is being conducted by the professionals like chartered accountants and cost accountants. The difference in these two is that the section 65 is a routine nature. It is a system of schema of taxation under the GST, And it is a part and parcel of the surveillance of the department where self-assessment mechanism has been followed. Whereas Section 66 is something special, something different, which is talking whenever there is some complexity in the books of accounts, and it is again the interest of the revenue. Then, based on that complexity or the interest of the revenue, the commissioner can call for the special audit by the professionals. And this 65 audit is being conducted by the departmental officers. Now, friends, the question arises why this Section 65 audit is being conducted by the departmental officers, why not professionals? This question can also be there. Why not a professional can do the routine audit of the supplier also? Because doing the audit on routine basis, handling is very important, and most of you have handled the audited by the department, and you may be aware that how the departmental audits are being handled. Let's keep that point here only and move to the further that there will be an order by the commissioner for doing the audit, and that order is not it is a specific order for a case. It is a general order. There is a audit manual or audit circular. There are the risk parameters based on which the suppliers are selected for the audit. And if you see the central tax department, actually, whenever we are talking about the special audit and handling of audit, generally it is the central tax department who have the legacy of doing these types of audits, and the state tax department who were earlier handling the VAT cases or the sales tax matters was having the concept of 100% assessment in sales tax, and later on VAT also there used to be assessment, reason being some of the statutory forms for concessional rate of tax are needs to be obtained and assessed accordingly. But if you see here, the Central Tax Department in 2019 issued a circular for giving the criteria or guidance for the audit, and there is a separate audit manual also that how the audit is to be conducted, and that whole separate manual and the kind of doing the audit is on the professionals expertise. This is the practical case. Each and every case have a different aura flora altogether, and we need to take care of the all cases as per the demand. And this is what I want to convey here, that this is the dynamic area. This is not a static there is a routine case, there will be audit, you will fill a form like 3CD, there are certain particulars, and you will supply it to the department and the audit is complete. It is not like that. Although they are asking certain formats are there, they are asking certain data. I would also like to discuss with you the material, the contents based on which the audit is being conducted, but it is custom made. You need to customize the reply for each and every type of supplier based on the profile, based on the type of supply being provided by the supplier, and many more considerations which during the interaction we can discuss. And what should be the period of the audit is also very important. And those who are handling the central excise cases are aware that they start the audit where the last audit was conducted, from the stage up to where the last audit was conducted, and they cover up the whole period. It means if you see carefully, it is almost in the central jurisdiction. Their planning is to conduct the audit for each and every cases. Although they were talking about the 80% of the cases and 20% on the basis of the certain criteria. So there may be certain suppliers which may not be subject to audit under the GST, but under the excise regime and earlier, based on the criteria, they were doing almost the audit of every unit under excise, and they used to do started from the point where the previous audit was closed. And then there can be a period for 2 years, 3 years. Now, if the audit notice is coming, that can start from 1st of July 2017 till 31st of March 2021 or till 31st March 2020. Why not 2021? The reason which is there, that basically audit starts when the annual return is filed. Because this is, the last point where the self-assessment process is completed by the supplier. And after completing the self-assessment process by the supplier, then they will come to the premises of the supplier, or they will call for the records. So that is also very important point, uh, which I would like to discuss, whether the audit will be conducted at the supplier's premises or it will be conducted at the departmental office. So that both the option has been kept in the GST. Earlier in the excise, they used to come at the factory only. But here the both the option has been kept, and we want to promote the desk audit. Desk audit means the audit at the department premises only. And they want to avoid the audit at the supplier's premises. But if the supplier is not cooperating, there is a notice again and again, and he is not supplying the documents as required. So they can convert the method of the audit from desk audit to the uh, audit at the premises of the supplier. So this is what important point is there, and we need to take care about the place of audit also, and we need to respond to the audit as and when it is notice is received. And these audits are not basically the judicial proceedings. These audits are the administrative functions of the department, and it is a routine investigation type function. Generally, if you say you go to the high court to take the stay or to take the quash the audit order, so that is not happening unless otherwise some of the powers of the authorities, where the ultra virus of the provision has been chilling with the court. But the court also do not interfere in the investigation proceedings. So this is one of the inspection or investigation proceedings, and ADD 01 is the notice which is issued to the supplier, and at least 15 days time will be allowed to the supplier to start the audit. And friends, these provisions are simple, but the main point is that what are the important consideration, what are the contents, what are the information which are going to play the role in the audit of this uh, department, audit by the department. So those contents we would like to discuss, and let some of the basic provisions we discuss. And generally the audit will be completed in 3 months, and it can be extended for 6 months. So you will think that it is very reasonable period that audit will be completed in 3 months, and there may be many cases where the audit is still pending for years. So you will say, when the law says that the audit will be completed within a period of 3 months, then why the audit is pending for years? This is what we need to understand. And there is, uh, litigation also, and there is some important points here. The 3 months is from the commencement of audit, and when the commencement will start, the law takes care about the commencement of audit also. And it says, then the date on which the records and other documents called for by the tax authorities are made available by the registered person. So when you have given all the documents, then only the audit will be treated to have been commenced, and or the actual institution of the audit at the place of business, whichever is later. So it is very important, when they were asking you the documents and the documents, and you were not providing the documents, and they reached to your premises for doing the audit. There is one section also, 71, where they have a power to access the premises also, and there are power to ask for the document also for conducting the audit, not only by the departmental officers, but by the cost accountants and chartered accountants also, wherever audit has been assign like a special audit to that. So now the important point is that when the audit is started, so that you need to take care when the audit is started, and the time limit of 3 months or 6 months will start from that date. and it is, litigative point, and it depends on facts of the cases. When can it be said that the audit has commenced? But certainly, whenever they reach to your premises and institute the audit, so that is treated as the commencement of audit. Now, some of the provisions that the officer, the proper officer who is authorized to conduct the audit, what he will exactly do. So this is, a single slide, but it is talking lot of the things, and we can discuss over here also that what types of documents they can verify. This is basically verification of the documents. I give you a simple example. You have filed an annual return declaring the turnover of rupees 10 crore rupees, and there is an audit by the department, and department asks you some of the basic information, and basic information includes the audited financial statements, audited balance sheet, tax audit reports, cost audit reports, and in the audited financial statement, the turnover declared in the credit or profit and loss account is say 15 lakh rupees. Now the question comes, the audit team will ask you that why the turnover of rupees 10 lakh has been reflected in the annual return, and whereas the financial statement is talking about the 15 lakh turnover. Then you need to explain that this 5 crore turnover is either due to the exempt supply or due to the no supply or due to the method of accounting for which the tax has been paid in the earlier period, but the revenue has been booked in this period, and a number of reasons for having the variation. If you ask me, okay, in how much cases you will find the difference in the annual return and balance sheet or the audited financial statement, there may be almost every return, because the method of accounting which is being followed for finalizing the audited balance sheet, or the method of bookkeeping, whereas the in GST, even the fixed assets there is a tax, even the stock transfer there is a tax, even certain supplies which are to the distinct person, they treat it as a supply, and in balance sheet that may not be reflecting, and vice versa also possible in many cases. So this is very important. You reconcile your GST returns with the audited financial statement, and that task I think should be done during the course of the finalization of the books of accounts only. And it is not that at the time of audit, when the audit is coming, then you are going here and there to reconcile the issues, to reconcile the turnover or the other figure with the balance sheet. Then documents on the basis of which the books of accounts are maintained is basically the vouchers. They can ask you the vouchers. If there is any entry in the books of account, what is the base of that entry in the books of account? And that is the fundamental basic of the accounting, that whenever there is an entry in the books of account, there should be the voucher supporting document based on which the accounts has been finalized. Then the correctness of the turnover or exemptions and deductions claim, and this is a whole lot of wide area. If you see the correctness of the turnover, it starts from valuation section 15, whether it is supply or not supply, and if you have claimed any exemption or any deduction, say deduction on account of real agent or the pure agent, where the supply was only as a pure agent amount was recovered. So these types of exemptions and deductions are needs to be verified by the departmental officer, and here a lot many issues are coming, and we are getting many show cause notices. We are getting many issues so far as the correctness of the turnover and the exemptions and deductions are concerned. It is n number of cases where the deductions are being claimed, like in case of the medical institution or the healthcare institution, deduction exemption is being claimed, in case of the educational institutions, the exemption is being claimed because most of those cases are registered under GST also, and there is a lot more, litigation which is happening because the fine print of the exemption notification, the interpretation of the exemption notification is very important. And GST, it is basically the notification based law, and you will find that finally you need to refer to the relevant notification if you want to find out the taxable liability of the person. So that is very important. And the returns, whatever returns you have furnished, becomes the part of the records or the documents which can be verified by the proper officer. And statement furnished, rate of tax applied, ITC claimed, refund claimed. This is whole lot of, if you start from section 7, the definition of supply, to section 9, charging section, whether it is chargeable or not, to section 11, whether it is exempt or not, the time of supply, whether it is taxable in that time or not, the valuation, and so on. And ITC, it is, plethora of points which is there in claiming of the ITC in section 16. And we are finding many cases where the ITC has been claimed on the construction services also based on some of the high court judgments, and the department is issuing the show cause notices where the ITC has been claimed for construction services. Or not only this is just example, there are blocked credits under section 16, 17, and 17.5 talks about the many of the items, and wherever the ITC has been claimed on account of these, uh, then uh, you know certainly it is going to be the verification part of the department. So this is the uh, power given. And like if I talk you one audit report, that is audit report under Income Tax Act. So that is 44 AB. There is a form 3CD, and they are analyzing the form 3CD. You may be aware that from form 26 AS, they have issued so many show cause notices based on the reconciliation from 26 AS. In service tax also, lately also they issued the notice for the period where the service tax was levied based on the reconciliation from 26 AS. So now the inter-law reconciliation is also becoming very important. If certain points has been mentioned in tax audit report and under the Income Tax Act, so that also becomes very important so far as the departmental audit is concerned. They can ask you for the cost audit if the cost audit has been conducted, and you can find many points in the cost audit where some of the uh, scrap has been shown, some of the items has been shown which has been discarded, or ratios has been calculated so far as the manufacturing is concerned, the utilization of input and so on, and they can take the cognizance of all these documents, and they can go ahead for the audit. So it depends that first of all, at the time of filing of the return, you need to take care. But it is moreover at the time of filing of the annual return, because annual return once filed, it subsumes all the monthly or periodical returns filed by the supplier. It is basically the annual return which survives, and based on that annual return, the proceedings can be initiated. And annual return itself may be questioned under various sections. That is a different issue altogether. But if you have corrected the things in annual return, so that is going to help you in audits, and that will not be treated as any concealment or any contravention or any suppression of facts or like that. And whatever discrepancies has been noticed by the audit team, they will inform, because in audit there is one concept very important. You need to take the comments of the auditee. In audit generally also, as a financial auditor of the chartered accountant which we are doing, if there is any observation, from the books of account and you want to qualify the report or you want to put any point or key audit matters or whatever way, then the comments of the auditee is required, and based on that comments you will conclude the audit report. And the proper officer shall inform the findings, and there is a form ADT2 within the 30 days from the conclusion of audit, and then the story begins. The next story begins, and that is the story of show cause notice. Anuj, can you give me a minute for water break?
Yeah, please, go ahead, sir.
Anuj, if you want to make it interactive, you can intervene here also if you want. Otherwise, I am going through to complete the this provisions, and then we can discuss the issues what are there in departmental audit.
So I would suggest if you can cover the topics, then कुछ भी अगर questions practical आते हैं और we have other participants also, they can also ask those questions, and then we can all take all the quizzes together.
Then the what I was saying, the story starts the another era, that is the show cause notice. Based on the findings of the audit, the show cause notices are being issued, and that is very old practice. There is a pre-show cause consultation also. You need to understand. In law, indirectly, there is a provision for reduced penalty based on the observation of the department, and that is basically the pre-show cause consultation. And prior to pre-show cause notice also, in audit also we get the chance. So one chance is at the time when the discrepancies has been noticed by the audit party. Then you can clarify. You can get the remove the para there and there only. But another chance you get before issuing the show cause notice also, you are given the opportunity for consultation that why this demand should not be raised, and based on that, the department goes for further proceeding, and that is 73, 74. This is just action plan which was given by the department on 25th of June 2019 by way of a circular, and CBIC issued the action plan. And I'm not going for each and every type of action plan, but my point is here important for practical purposes, that what are the areas, what are the critical areas, what are the point based on which the audit can be conducted, and what are the points which we need to take in care while going through the audit proceedings. And there are risk flags also, and risk flags has also been divided into part A, B, C part, like ABC analysis they have done. And risk analysis which I want to discuss, and the time which is being taken generally for large unit, they are saying 7 working days, for medium units 5, and for small units 3 working days. And they have defined the turnover also, that which is the medium, and what is the large taxpayers, and what is the small taxpayers, that is up to 10 crore or 7.5 crore, based on the state where the supplier is located, and more than 10 crores and up to uh, 40 to 50 crores, 40 to 30 crores based on the state in which the supplier is there. And the percentage of audit I have already covered in my uh, just when I was speaking. And they have said that premises based audit to desk based audit. So the concept which has changed here in GST, they will ask you to come to their premises. They are not going to come to the supplier's premises at once unless there is a non-corporation by the supplier, and that is a important point. And they just now the local risk parameters based on which the audit is being conducted. There are 20-30 points which are the risk parameters, and if the supplier is not providing the documents or delaying in providing the document, that is also become the risk parameter. In that case, if there is a notice and after notice you are not giving the required documents for the auditing, because the audit will be based on the certain documents, and generally which I spoke you that first of all the audited financial statement, balance sheet, profit and loss account, copy of returns, reconciliation, and tax audit report, cost audit report. These are the basic documents which they will ask you. And based on the observation, reviewing those documents, if any further document is required, so they will ask you for the further documents also. And uh, for taxpayer which has not been previously audited, this is also one of the risk parameter. Newly registered person, this is just the legacy which is coming out. If there is a supplier who is newly registered, so they want to do the audit at least for first time for 1 year, and later on they can plan to do it once in a 3 year or once in a 5 year. Now one of the important question which comes, that up to what time you can get the audit conducted. So naturally, the audit has to be conducted within the time limit of for issuing the show cause notice under section 73 or 74. Because when the department is not able to issue the show cause notice, then there is no reason for conducting the audit for that period. Although it is not specifically mentioned in the law, but the 3 years or 5 years period from the due date of filing of the annual return, which is there in section 73 and 74. So that is the date for auditing also. And audit is going on regularly. We are having the notices for auditing, and it is going on. For COVID, sometime they stopped the auditing. Now they again have started pursuing the audits, and how much time has been there for audit from the last audit, and uh, substantial assessment during the previous audit. If there was a show cause notice in the previous audit after previous audit, then it is one of the risk parameters. Then the department would also like to do the audit for the subsequent period on the same issues. There are chances that the show cause notice may be issued. And the size of the supplier, how much is the turnover, like big listed companies or the small companies. The small companies, they will not like to do it every year. They would be liking to do it once in a 5 year or 3 year and so on. But for large taxpayers, they would like to do it every year so that the bulk volume is there. And the uh, refund, if the taxpayer is claiming regular refund, like in case of exporters. Now, what happened in case of exporters? You all are aware that there is a caution list being made by the department, and the exporters which are there in caution list. Every time the consignment is cleared for against those exporter, the 100% verification is being done. And not only the 100% verification, their refunds has also been uh, blocked for the time being, unless the inquiries has been conducted. So in the similar manner, if there is a refund regularly by any supplier, maybe the inverted duty structure or the exporter or the supply to SEZ, then the audit can also trigger based on this refund case. And change in turnover, change in profit. This is also criteria. The person who are dealing in indirect taxes know that the change of turnover is also many times we got the notice that your turnover has reduced and your tax payment has reduced. Kindly explain why this tax payment has been reduced. You are showing taxable supply, suddenly in the next year you are showing the exempted supply. What happened to your profile? Why you are showing the exempt supply? So these are the cases. There are many ratios based on which the audit can be asked. Ratios of turnover, total assets, size of income from high risk activities like real estate. So they can have a general order that they want to do the audit for real estate suppliers, and in that case, if your client is doing the real estate activities, will be covered in that. And the exemption which I have already discussed, and the percentage of profit, waiver or bankruptcy, inconsistency, legal dispute. There are many clients which are very habitual of doing the legal disputes. So they take into consideration those, points, and these are, long list. And let me share here also that it is the Central Tax Department is not functioning like, without any having the research data. They have their own research cell. They have the Director General of Analytics and Data. They keep the data analytics softwares and tools. They are doing the using the AI. Even the GSTN portal is using the artificial intelligence to uh, send the scrutiny of return notices ASMT 10, and the quality of the books of accounts, that is also one of the criteria. If you see the situation in our country, we need to analyze, small and medium scales after the quality of the bookkeeping is not up to the par. Actually, it is the bookkeeping which is required under GST. Sometimes we fail to understand this. It is the accountants, it is the bookkeeping, it is the meticulous accounting which is required for the GST. Because earlier, what was happening, I give you a small example. Whenever a client comes to me for excise registration or for excise compliances, so first of all, I used to ask him whether you have a full-time accountant, yes or no. So if he says no, I don't have the accountant. So then say how you will carry the excise registration. Well, no, we will carry. Well, okay, you can carry, but I cannot consult you because it will be my responsibility. It will be every month I will be fighting for the proper data for filing the return. You try to understand. It is not only the oral, uh, assurance which is given by the supplier, or even now also in current scenario. If you are doing any work of any GST client, it is not simply you can say no, the liability remains of the client. Whatever quality of data he is giving, I will take that only, and if something happens on the afterwards, if something happens afterwards, then it is the responsibility of the client. So it is not like that. If you are catering to a client, then your responsibility, you cannot escape it. And even if suppose he is saying that okay, it is my fault, but you need to take the corrective actions, and you can understand it is very difficult to take the corrective actions rather than the maintenance, or rather than the surveillance or the control or the proper tax management system. So it is a matter of tax management. It is not a matter of rectification or you know amendment or revision. It is very costly. I can say you that if you are, or anyone is, if anyone is very casual in filing the returns, and if the returns are filed without taking the proper care, only based on those returns, the client or the person can be shifted to the caution list. Can be shifted to the caution list. If you are, simply showing the export, without payment of tax, or with payment of tax and not using the proper tables, and later on there is a huge mismatch. So their artificial intelligence will say, okay, it is a cautionless employee. No one is going to take a bother to a extent that they will manually reconcile the issues and they will not put the name in the caution list. So that is the important part, and there are many factors like branches, legal entity, is it a partnership, it is a proprietorship, it is a multiple activity like that, and based on that, the audit is being conducted. I'm not going for details of each and every details here. So Anuj, you can take a lead and conclude this topic, and I think. If we carry this topic only and it is a very practical topic, we can interact for some time, and it will be better to reach on a stage in this topic only.
Right, sir. Definitely, sir. I think like to start by if any participants have any question, they can type it in the chat box. And in the meanwhile, sir, एक बड़ा प्रैक्टिकल जैसे अभी आपने कहा एक इशू हम लोग जो प्रैक्टिकली फेस कर रहे हैं, एंड आई वुड लाइक टू डिस्कस विद यू, आपके अगर उस पर कुछ इनपुट्स आ पाए। तो अभी जैसे बहुत बारी ऑडिट्स में कैसे हो रहे हैं, जैसे नोटिस जो डिपार्टमेंट के आ रहे हैं कि लेट से एज एन एसएससी आप सेंट्रल टैक्स के अंदर आपका जुरिसडिक्शन है, पर आपके पास जो नोटिस आते हैं वो स्क्रूटनी के हैं, आपके रिटर्न्स के हैं, जैसे आपके 2A और 3B की रिकंसिलेशन के हैं, वो आपको स्टेट अथॉरिटी से आते हैं, या वाइसी वर्सा की स्टेट अथॉरिटीज के नोटिस आ रहे हैं और आप मतलब आपको ऑपोजिट जुरिसडिक्शन से आ रहे हैं। तो उस केस में सर एज अ टैक्स पेयर मतलब बिकॉज व्हाट कैन बी डन, बिकॉज फिर सारे का सारा आपको उनको समझाना पड़ता है क्या है कैसे है, बिकॉज दे आर नॉट अवेयर ऑफ योर बिजनेस एंड दे आर नॉट योर नॉर्मल जुरिसडिक्शन ऑफिसर्स, एंड उन्हें मना करा जाए तो कहीं ना कहीं द टैक्स पेयर्स आर अफ्रेड दैट दे मे टेक सम एक्शन। तो सर उसमें इफ यू कैन गाइड, आई एम श्योर ऑल ऑफ अस आर फेसिंग दिस इशू, इट विल बी ग्रेट।
Anuj ji, the issue of jurisdiction is very important, and we have written many times regarding the issue of jurisdiction. There is a cross jurisdiction under the GST. Cross jurisdiction doesn't mean that both of the department will ask you for everything. Even if you see some of the notification circular issued clarifying the jurisdiction relating to the anti-evasion activities, here if you talk me purely about the GST audit, it is only the prerogative of the proper officer under the jurisdiction the supplier is falling. If it is a state jurisdiction, the central jurisdiction cannot give a notice for auditing under Section 65. And that is basically out of the authority because he is not the jurisdiction. It is not an anti-evasion activity. It is a audit. It is a you can inspection, basically verification. And if these types of notice are coming, which you are talking about, I think we need to come out and we need to write to the officer issuing the notice. Look, that we are covered under the jurisdiction of so and so ward or the circle, and this is our proper officer, and let the proceedings be initiated by that. I think that we should have to.
अंडरस्टैंडिंग। एक सर एक और इसी के ऊपर एक फॉलो अप क्वेश्चन इफ आई मे आस्क, जैसे हमारे पास एक कभी कभार इशू आता है कि जैसे लेट से आप मल्टीपल स्टेट्स में, लेट से आपका 5 स्टेट्स में रजिस्ट्रेशन है, तो लेट से हरियाणा, पंजाब, दिल्ली है हमारे पास, राजस्थान भी है, एंड दिल्ली वाला मेरा ऑडिट इनिशिएट करता है अंडर सेक्शन 65। तो टिपिकली व्हाट दे डू इज दे से कि आप बैलेंस शीट को रिकंसाइल कीजिए, और जब आप बैलेंस शीट को रिकंसाइल करते हैं आपका टर्नओवर सब स्टेट्स में होता है, एंड देन दे एंड अप आस्किंग यू डेटा फॉर ऑल द स्टेट्स कि आप इसको जस्टिफाई कीजिए ताकि मैं बैलेंस शीट से रिकंसाइल कर सकूं। तो उसमें सर अगर इफ यू कैन गिव सम इनपुट्स, बिकॉज इट्स अ वेरी स्टिकी पोजीशन, आपको समझ नहीं आता मना करा जाए ना करा जाए सर।
देखिए, ये बहुत ही एक प्रॉब्लमेटिक सिचुएशन आ रही है। और क्या होता है, जब हम जीएसटी की बात करते हैं ना, तो हमने सप्लाई की बात करी, और सप्लाई में गुड्स और सर्विसेज दोनों कवर्ड है। आप देखिए, सर्विस टैक्स में देयर वाज ए कांसेप्ट ऑफ सेंट्रलाइज रजिस्ट्रेशन।
राइट।
बहुत सारे बड़े बड़े सप्लायर्स जो सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स हैं, अ, वो एक ही सेंट्रलाइज रजिस्ट्रेशन, लाइक हॉस्पिटलिटी, ये ट्रेवल एजेंट्स,
राइट।
और यू कैन हैव द शेयर ब्रोकर्स, और यू कैन हैव लार्ज सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स। तो वो एक ही रजिस्ट्रेशन लेके उसको हैंडल करते थे। अब
राइट।
आपका हर स्टेट में अलग रजिस्ट्रेशन है। और हर स्टेट का अलग
हाँ,
ऑडिट हो सकता है, हर स्टेट की अलग एनुअल रिटर्न जाएगी, हर स्टेट का अलग कंप्लाइंस होगा। और जब भी आप रिकंसिलिएशन लेके जाएंगे तो आपके पूरे स्टेट्स का ही लेना पड़ेगा। अब इशू ये है कि आपने बाकी स्टेट्स का तो रिड्यूस कर दिया
हाँ,
टर्नओवर,
राइट,
अब वो ये
राइट सर,
कहेगा कि इसकी ऑथेंटिसिटी क्या है, बाकी स्टेट के
ऑथेंटिकेट,
होने चाहिए।
राइट सर,
तो ये इस पे एसओपीज इशू होने चाहिए, इसका
राइट,
सॉल्यूशन है। और डिपार्टमेंट को इस पे स्टैंडर्ड ऑपरेटिंग प्रोसीजर देना चाहिए, सर्कुलर देना चाहिए कि
राइट,
टू टू दैट एक्सटेंट आप उनसे आप इंफॉर्मेशन लीजिए और आप अपना स्टेट को कवर कीजिए। यू कैन नॉट टेक केयर ऑफ ऑल द स्टेट्स। एक तो पहले ही हम जो है 20 जगह 25 जगह जो है डिपार्टमेंट को हैंडल कर रहे हैं जो एक जगह हो
राइट,
सकता था, और
राइट,
ऊपर
राइट,
से आप सारे डिपार्टमेंट को सारे ऑडिट कराते रह गए, तो फिर तो बहुत एक अपने आप में प्रॉब्लमेटिक हो
राइट सर, राइट। नहीं, लाइक यू राइटली सेड, आई रिमेम्बर प्री जीएसटी हम लोग जब सेल्स टैक्स करते थे तो उस पर्टिकुलर स्टेट का एक अलग से बैलेंस शीट और P&L ड्रॉप किया जाता था, एंड देन द ऑफिसर वुड कन्फाइन हिमसेल्फ टू दैट बैलेंस शीट और P&L, और टिपिकली पूरी कंपनी से इस हिसाब से रिकंसिलिएशन। सर्विस टैक्स में तो यार एब्सोल्युटली राइट सर, कि कभी सेंट्रलाइज की वजह से वो रिक्वायरमेंट ही नहीं हुआ। आप एक ही जुरिस्डिक्शन के अंदर पूरा जब बैलेंस शीट को रिकंसाइल करते थे, एक ही जगह रिटर्न होती थी, दैट वाज मच इजियर। सर डेफिनेटली सर, I'll also request if any of the participants have any question, sir is with us, Rohit sir is with us, any question you have, आप इसको chat में type कर सकते हैं, and all your doubts can be cleared. And sir वैसे एक observation, जैसे अभी जैसे एक हम लोग की जैसे डिस्कशन होती है ट्रेड में कि बात उठी, क्योंकि ट्रेड में काफी पहले एक एक्सटेंशन को लेके, जैसे अभी आपने बताया कि 9(9)(c) के एक्सटेंशन से ट्रेड वाज हैप्पी एंड सम प्रोफेशनल्स वर आल्सो हैप्पी। बट एक जैसे डिस्कशन होती है आपसे, बस आई एम जस्ट डिस्कसिंग अ पॉइंट, कहीं ना कहीं अभी लेटर रियलाइज की इसी वजह से हमारा शो कॉज का टाइम लिमिट बहुत बढ़ गया है, एंड दैट इज नाउ क्रिएटिंग अ प्रॉब्लम, बिकॉज वो इतने पुराने रिकॉर्ड्स हो गए हैं, वो 6 7 8 साल पुराने रिकॉर्ड्स हो जाते हैं बाय द टाइम यू फाइल योर 9(9)(c). तो सर एनी थॉट्स ऑन दैट, बिकॉज आई थिंक ये जो एक्सटेंशन है ये
ये
कुछ
दैट इज वेरी
जरूरत भी है,
इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, दैट इज वेरी
राइट,
इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट। एंड टू एक्सटेंड क्या हुआ कि वी वर थिंकिंग ऑफ सम लिबरल व्यू सो फार एज द इनिशियल ईयर इज कंसर्न द जीएसटी। और
राइट सर,
सबसे ज्यादा बैड हिट वही इनिशियल ईयर है, क्योंकि उसी की डेट सबसे ज्यादा एक्सटेंड हुई। अब आप
राइट सर,
2017-18 को कब क्लोज करेंगे आखिर? और जब वो ऑडिट होता है तो उसको वो ऐसे ही लेते हैं जैसे आज का जीएसटी लॉ हो।
हाँ,
आप
राइट सर,
समझिए कि आप उस
राइट
समय
सर,
इतने मैच्योर नहीं थे जब आप
राइट
17
सर,
जुलाई की रिटर्न फाइल कर रहे होंगे। अनुज जी, आप
जी,
इमेजिन करिए,
राइट
you are
सर,
filing GSTR 3B for August September 2017। तो आपकी क्या सिचुएशन थी, और
राइट
आज
सर,
जब आप रिटर्न फाइल कर रहे हैं तो आपकी क्या सिचुएशन थी?
क्या,
तो इस पे कॉल लेने की जरूरत है, उस टाइम लिमिट को रेस्ट्रिक्ट करने की जरूरत है। इट शुड बी बेस्ड ऑन द ओरिजिनल डेट। थोड़ा बहुत एक्सटेंशन आप दे रहे हैं सप्लायर्स को, तो वो सेम एक्सटेंशन आप उसकी लिमिटेशन में नहीं ले सकते, वो अदरवाइज कभी टाइम बार ही नहीं होगा। और शुरू के पीरियड में तो चलो ठीक है कि आगे यदि आप एक्सटेंशन कर रहे हो तो दोनों तरफ वो होना चाहिए कि आपको टाइम मिल रहा है तो डिपार्टमेंट को भी मिल रहा है। लेकिन 17-18 जो फर्स्ट ईयर था, वो सबसे ज्यादा वर्स्ट हिट ईयर है।
राइट सर, राइट, 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 राइट सर, एंड आई रिमेम्बर देयर वर पोर्टल इश्यूज, जिस वजह से स्टार्टिंग में आई थिंक 9(9) से इनिशिएट नहीं हुई,
एन
एंड
नंबर ऑफ यूज,
राइट सर,
क्लैरिटी, मैनी आइटम्स। आप न्यूज़पेपर में रोज एक पूरे पेज का ऐड देखते थे क्लासिफिकेशन का,
हाँ, राइट सर,
है, और पूरे एक पेज का देखते थे, और ट्विटर पे आप वो रिप्लाई देखते थे। पूरे 2018 तक ट्विटर के रिप्लाई चले,
राइट सर,
और
राइट,
आप उस
एब्सोल्युटली,
ईयर को नॉर्मल ईयर ट्रीट कर रहे हैं। इवन I am going to extend for 17-18, they should have general exemption for doing the departmental audit.
राइट सर, राइट,
And
एब्सोल्युटली,
if you don't want to do it at least for turnover up to 5 crore or 10 crore.
right, some relaxation at least on the turnover side,
Yes,
absolutely sir,
yes.
absolutely sir, absolutely. If
I
any,
think
right
if
sir,
there is no issue, then you can conclude or whatever you want to.
no sir, I think Sumit ji can give his inputs.
Yes, Anuj, wonderful session, and I hope any other query has been already been discussed all the queries. And रोहित सर, बहुत ही सही ऑब्जर्वेशन आपने जो अभी लास्ट में मैं सुन रहा था फ्यू मिनट से, कि जनरल ईयर की तरह हम ट्रीट नहीं कर सकते 17-18 को, और इन स्पाइट ऑफ दीज GST department is doing their assessment and other formality. So with this, I really thankful to you, sir, for your great learning session. Who have joined, और रिकॉर्डिंग हमारी यूट्यूब पर अवेलेबल है, तो सभी लोग जो लेटर ऑन भी देख सकते हैं. तो स्पेशली थैंक्स टू रोहित सर फॉर योर सेशन ऑन द ईव ऑफ फेस्टिव राखी सीजन टुमारो. सो थैंक यू वेरी मच. एंड अनुज जी, थैंक यू आपका भी फॉर योर गिविंग द ग्रेट इनपुट along with Rohit sir. So thanks to each participant for joining. Thank you very
Welcome,
much.
Sumit ji, and I am thankful to each one of you who has joined this webinar. And it is a combined learning, it is a joint learning. This is the profession which is now changing the shape, and you can easily and understand. Sumit ji also can highlight, and time to time he is doing those part also. Our profession is also in transitional phase. So keep on
Right.
joining and keep on sharing your inputs and your knowledge with the members. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Anuj ji. Thank you, Rohit
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you, Sumit ji. Thank you, Rohit ji. Thank you.